Welcome to The Explainer. Look, if that absolutely legendary clash between Luffy and Kaido has caught your attention, but you're staring down a mountain of over 1,000 episodes feeling totally overwhelmed, I get it. You are in the perfect place. Today we're doing a high-speed, insightful run through the One Piece saga. We're going to give you the lore, the massive stakes, and all the crucial context you actually need to understand the absolute hype of the Gear 5 reveal. So let's just jump right into it.
Everything, and I mean everything, begins with this single, world-shaking moment. The Pirate King, Goldie Roger, had achieved it all, right? Wealth, fame, power. But during his execution, instead of despairing, the guy smiled. He delivered these famous last words, daring the entire world to go out and find his legendary treasure, the One Piece. And just like that, the great pirate era was born. Millions took to the seas, and among them is our main character, Monkey D. Luffy, a kid with a massive, seemingly impossible dream to become the next Pirate King.
Consider this your Grand Line map for today. We'll be rapidly navigating through 1. The Great Pirate Era, 2. Conquering the Grand Line, 3. Tragedy and the Time Skip, 4. Forging new pirate alliances, 5. Clashing with the Emperors, and finally, 6. The Wano Arc Climax.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the Great Pirate Era and building the Straw Hat Crew. Because, let's be real, even a future Pirate King needs a fiercely loyal found family to survive out there.
But before we meet the crew, we really have to understand the power system here, devil fruits. If you eat one of these mystical fruits, you get insane superhuman abilities. The catch? The sea will reject you forever, meaning you will literally drop like a stone in water. Pretty ironic for a pirate, right? Our guy Luffy ate the gum fruit, which turned his entire body into rubber. He can stretch, bounce, inflate himself, and honestly, this defines his incredibly creative and completely unpredictable fighting style.
So out in the East Blue, Luffy starts putting together his iconic core crew. First up, he recruits the terrifying pirate hunter, Rower no Zoro, promising to help him become the world's strongest swordsman. Then comes Nami, a brilliant navigator who actually betrays them at first to save her hometown from a fishman tyrant, but she fully commits after Luffy fiercely fights for her. Throw in Usopp, a cowardly but super loyal sniper, and Sanji, a suave kickboxing cook they pick up from a sea restaurant. And boom, this core crew is ready to take on the world.
Moving right along to Section 2, conquering the Grand Line, the seas of danger. Because now, the training wheels come completely off as our crew enters the most treacherous, chaotic waters on the planet.
It is absolutely crucial to understand the political power balance that runs the Grand Line. It is a highly volatile setup. First, you have the 7 warlords. These are incredibly powerful pirates who actually work for the world government. Then, you've got the Navy itself, armed with 3 monstrous admirals who wield terrifying destructive powers. And finally, the 4 emperors. These are the absolute strongest, most ruthless pirates in the sea, who basically rule the New World. I mean, even the Navy is terrified of clashing with them.
As the Straw Hats navigate all these massive threats, they start uncovering deeper mysteries. In the desert kingdom of Alabasta, Luffy somehow miraculously defeats the warlord Crocodile, a guy literally made of sand. Following that, the crew picks up a reindeer doctor named Chopper and a mysterious archaeologist named Nico Robin. Now, Robin is a game changer. She's the only person in the world who can read poneglyphs, ancient indestructible stone tablets that hold the true history of the world and the exact coordinates to the One Piece. So, naturally, the world government wants her dead.
To survive against that kind of heat, Luffy has to evolve. The world government sends their elite CP9 assassins to capture Robin and Frankie, a cyborg shipwright. To save them at the judicial island of Enies Lobby, Luffy realizes his normal rubber attacks just aren't cutting it anymore. So he invents his gears. By pumping his blood rapidly, he unlocks Gear 2 for this blistering, invisible speed. And by biting into his thumb and inflating his literal bones, he unlocks Gear 3 for giant-sized, devastating punches. With this huge power-up, they rescue Robin, recruit Frankie, and literally declare outright war on the world government.
But you know, every winning streak eventually hits a wall. Welcome to Section 3, Tragedy and the Time Skip, facing crushing defeat. Things get incredibly dark on the Sabati Archipelago. The crew encounters the Celestial Dragons, these vile, totally untouchable nobles who buy people as slaves. And the rule is, if you even look at them wrong, a Navy admiral will come wipe you out. Well, Luffy being Luffy, he literally clocks a Celestial Dragon straight in the jaw for hurting his friend.
This triggers an absolute catastrophe. An admiral shows up, completely overpowers the entire crew, and a warlord named Kuma uses his power to physically scatter the Straw Hats across the globe. For the very first time, they suffer a total crushing defeat.
And while they're separated, Luffy gets horrific news. His brother, Ace, is scheduled for execution. What follows is a desperate, frantic rescue mission. Luffy breaks into Impel Down, an inescapable underwater prison, survives lethal poison, and crashes the massive Marineford War, a battle involving the Navy, the warlords, and the legendary Emperor Whitebeard. But despite fighting with literally every ounce of his soul, Luffy is forced to watch Ace die right in front of him, protecting him. The psychological toll here is immense. It's this heartbreaking realization of his own utter powerlessness on the global stage. But from that deep tragedy comes unbelievable growth. Luffy sends a coded message to his scattered crew: wait 2 years. During this time skip, Luffy trains with Silver's Raleigh, the former right-hand man of the Pirate King himself. He learns Haki, which is this mysterious inner willpower. He masters armament Haki to harden his body like steel, observation Haki to sense attacks before they happen, and incredibly rare Conqueror's Haki, possessed only by a chosen few with the spirit of a true king. Now they are ready for the new world.
Which brings us to Section 4, Forging New Pirate Alliances, Entering the New World. Reunited and vastly stronger, the Straw Hats finally sail into the chaotic, unforgiving second half of the Grand Line, where the Emperors rule.
To survive here, Luffy forms a pirate alliance with Trafalgar Law to set off this massive domino effect. The plan? First, take out an underworld scientist named Caesar Clown on Punk Hazard, who manufactures artificial devil fruits. By cutting off that supply, they cripple the warlord Doflamingo, who runs the underground market in Dressrosa. And by dethroning Doflamingo, they directly anger his biggest client, the Emperor Kaido, known as the strongest creature in the world. It is a brilliant, incredibly high-stakes strategy. After taking down Doflamingo, the crew arrives at Zoo, which is literally an island on the back of a giant elephant. Here, a massive piece of the puzzle falls into place. To find Laugh Tale, the final island holding the one piece, they need 4 specific red road poneglyphs. One is right there with the Mink tribe on Zoo. The second is held by Emperor Big Mom, the third is guarded by Emperor Kaido, and the fourth? Well, that one's lost to history. But the end game is finally crystal clear. To become Pirate King, they have to steal from the Emperors. Let's dive into Section 5, Clashing with the Emperors, the highest stakes. Luffy is no longer just surviving, he is actively stepping into the ring with the undisputed heavyweights of the world.
Remember Doflamingo? To defeat him back in Dressrosa, Luffy had to pull out Gear 4. By infusing his rubber body with maximum armament Haki and blowing into his muscles, he becomes this massive, bouncing powerhouse, combining insane speed, raw strength, and the ability to fly. But even that wasn't quite enough against Big Mom's first commander, Katakuri. During that brutal, hours-long fight, Luffy actually pushes his observation Haki so far that he learns to literally see a few seconds into the future. It's wild.
Now that fight with Katakuri happened during the incredibly daring Whole Cake Island heist. Sanji had been blackmailed into a forced political marriage by Emperor Big Mom, so Luffy and half the crew infiltrate her sugary, terrifying territory, completely crash the wedding, rescue Sanji, steal a copy of her road poneglyph right from under her nose, and escape. Oh, and the former warlord, the absolute badass fishman Jinbei, officially joins the crew as their helmsman. It's a massive victory, but wow, did they ever poke the bear. And now we reach the summit. Section 6, the Wano Arc Climax, the Battle of Monsters. This is the culmination of literally years of story buildup. Wano is a samurai nation that's been completely isolated from the rest of the world and brutally enslaved by Emperor Kaido for 20 years. To honor the tragic legacy of the rightful shogun Kozuki Oden, Luffy leads a massive all-out rebellion. We're talking thousands of samurai, the Mink tribe, and his pirate alliances launching a massive surprise raid on Kaido's fortress, Onigashima. The scale is just breathtaking. During this absolute chaos, Luffy's rivals Law and Kid actually managed to miraculously take down Emperor Big Mom, which means now only Kaido remains as the final, seemingly insurmountable obstacle.
Up on the roof of Onigashima, Luffy clashes with Kaido, throwing literally everything he has at him. Gear 3, Gear 4, Advanced Haki. But he is beaten down, utterly defeated, and his heart actually stops. But then it starts beating again. And it sounds like the legendary drums of liberation.
Luffy's devil fruit finally awakens, revealing its true, staggering nature. He becomes a cartoonish, totally unpredictable force of sheer freedom, literally grabbing lightning bolts out of the sky and turning the ground into a giant trampoline. This ridiculous peak awakening is the legendary Gear 5.
We've navigated the East Blue, we've endured the absolute worst tragedies, and we pushed way past the limits of hockey together. You now know the lore, the power system, and exactly what is at stake for Maki D. Luffy and the entire land of Wano. So, knowing everything that has been building up to this monumental clash, are you ready to hear the drums of liberation for yourself? Go experience Luffy versus Kaido. Trust me, it is a piece of anime history you absolutely do not want to miss. Catch you on the next explainer.